Okay, so welcome. So yes, I will be recording this. And I'll explain shortly where you can access that. Okay, now I just hope people okay. Well, hold on. Lisa Roman. Okay.
You still don't have Claire and Teresa on there, do you?
Yeah,
Did
Claire
they?
just said that she has internet issues.
Okay.
And Roman, I sent her, like a few of you, I sent her the questionnaire instead of the Zoom link for this. So hopefully they'll be able to get on. Okay. So sharing my screen, I've pressed record. So that's good. Um, I'll show you, these are my host demonstrator tips. So that, and please, I probably will break every rule. Um, but let's hopefully I can get better each time. So at points I will be muting everyone so that I can concentrate and deliver whatever I'm saying at that time. Now I will have breaks, and so then you can ask any questions then. But please use the raise hand sign that's at the bottom of your Zoom screen. That's really good, so that I know. Speak slower because I'm a fast speaker. Do not interrupt others. Okay, I will apologize right now. I get so excited and passionate about machine knitting and talking that I often will start to talk over people. So I'm going to try not to do that because silence is good. And also, just something for all of us is when someone shares or gives tips or whatever, let's just always, like that or do that in the chat so that we all feel well heard. Okay. So I think I might just do it this way at this point. Um, okay, so just tell me that you're seeing full screen.
Yep.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so welcome to the first one. I had a little pre one last Wednesday when I woke up in the morning and thought, ooh, I want to start it now. And I thought, ooh, it's Wednesday. So thank you, Barbie and Elizabeth, who came one each at my day and my night one. Okay, so we've just talked about the Google form questionnaire. So if you haven't done that, feel free to do that. Otherwise, if it's too much and you just want to concentrate, you can do that after. I'll put it on the Facebook group. If you haven't introduced yourself in the introduce yourself post, because I had so many join, because I only started it last week and adding people, I just kept adding your name to that post as opposed to putting another one up there. So it will tag your name. And so please go in there. And I want to thank all of those who have already done it thus far. And there's kind of some, where you live, how you started, and a favorite knitting item to put that picture in. So if there's been any photos come to me in the last hour, unfortunately, I probably didn't get that into the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so admit. Okay. I just admitted 3 more people. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Okay. So welcome Claire, welcome Teresa, and welcome Barbie on the laptop, I think. And thank you for being patient to joining. Now, again, if anyone at any point needs to leave, that's right. Just say in the comments, need to go, and feel free to just say your goodbye and leave, and then we'll talk to you again at the next gathering. I've recruited my daughter, Caitlin Dumbrell White, to be the admin of the Facebook group. She's not a knitter yet. I've knitted for her children, and she loves it. And she's getting to the point where she thinks I'm getting good enough that she'll wear something I knit. But that's her husband, Josh, and they just live a few streets away, which is really lovely to have 3 of my 7 grandchildren close. Okay, so today, I am now just a question. Are you seeing, when you see the screen, are you seeing your guys' picture of what I'm seeing on my screen or not? Like a gal.
Right now it's a full screen and it says warm up on one side in a red box and agenda on the other.
Okay, perfect. Okay, as long as that's all you're seeing and you're not seeing all your pictures. Okay, so this is basically how I'll go through with this. And I'm a planner. I like to know the destination I'm going to. I don't like to be led blindly, step by step. So I like to kind of show where we're going so that you know, oh, is this over yet or whatever, so you know that things are coming. So I'm first going to explain my why, introduce myself, talk about the Facebook group and the purpose, the workshop purpose, the guidelines, and then the online course. And then this will be the agenda that we'll go through. We'll go into greet and share, some announcements. Generally, we'll have a section of a bigger knitting project, but today we won't because we're going to probably spend more time in the greet and sharing time. But that will be, say, for example, if it's a sweater, it might just be the neckband 1 week, and then you'll go home and practice a few neckbands, and then it might be the front or the back, and right or left sleeve, so that over a few weeks you'll be able to knit a bigger project, but that we won't spend the whole time in a workshop just doing a big project that you may not be interested in doing. Okay, so that's just a shorter one, but we'll be doing a smaller demo today. Then, of course, there's always going to be a home knitting challenge. I love to hear what you've learned at the end, any light bulb moments. And then what we'll be doing next week, and then other support groups, and pay it forward to Carolyn Legacy, which I'll mention in a moment. So this is me. I'm Sherry Dumbrell. I grew up in San Diego, California, hence why I have some San Diego friends that I basically have only known for less than about 18 months when I went to a class there with Carolyn at a local college. And so I just welcome all our US ones. And thank you for the confusion. Well, I'm not confused, but I know other people get very confused in regards to the that is okay, in regards to the time zones. But yes, for all my US knitters, it's the daytime one that you'll be attending because that's 7 o'clock at night. This is the class time that I used to go online with my angel Caroline. And so that's why I'm keeping it the same, because for me, it's Wednesday, midweek, noon, and then at night again, I do it. So the evening class for the US knitters is like 2 to 4 a.m. in the morning, which, hey, I did do that for the San Diego Guild a couple weeks ago. So, if you really want to get on at that time and wake up and, feel free to jump on. Okay, so this is my happy place. It was probably 3 years ago when my husband's had diabetes for 20 years. Unfortunately, they don't tell you that metformin, the main diabetic medication, kills your kidney. And so about 3 years ago, he was starting in renal failure. I was working full time in my business. And so I had to kind of slow down on that because I had to go to lots of doctor appointments and just the stress of knowing that my future life would be different than what I had planned. And so I had to think of something to keep my mind and um, my fingers busy because I was busy online because I worked, in my business at home, always on the computer, And so I remembered that I did crocheting as a teenager, and I thought, oh, that's using both of them. And that's where I started. I've evolved since then, but this is my recent upgrade of my rooms. I did have one, and both of this stuff was all in one room. And I felt very claustrophobic and very unmotivated because it was so cluttered. So now my youngest daughter got married 9 months ago, and I hadn't done anything to her room. It was still just a storage room. So I decided to take that over. And so that is my knitting room. And then this is my design room, which is just a lovely place to be. This is my family. My husband and I, Greg, have been married 36 years, I think. We have 5 children. All of them are married or the last one's engaged, which is my son. And I have 7 grandchildren. My oldest daughter, Lauren, has 4. One of hers is profoundly deaf, the little boy underneath her Mexican husband. They all speak fluent language, Spanish, as well as now Auslan, which is our yours is ASL, American Sign Language. We have Australian Sign Language. And then my Caitlin has the 3. That's my baby, my son. He just became a police officer. We actually took him to the hospital not the hospital, the airport this morning because his wife last week had emergency surgery getting her gall bladder removed, her gall, yeah. And then my son, Ben. So we're very blessed. And I have all of them except my son who just went up to Great Barrier Reef, the gorgeous part of the world, to be a police officer up there. So just a quick explanation about the correspondence. So my business is Happy Spenders Beyond Budgeting. So I've done this for about 12 years. I've used the software, which is very innovative, since 2003, for about 22 years. And so, I mean, I still work, but kind of part-time because I'm becoming more addicted to knitting. But so any correspondences that come from me is from my CRM or my thing, the emails, you'll see it comes from Sherry at Essential Spending Planner, which is the name of my business. So that's me. At any point, if you're receiving an email, which I don't send out lots of emails because I don't like emails, but at any point at the bottom, you can just reply and say unsubscribe if you want to stop any emails. Also, the online course, which I'll be introducing, is also on my business website. I have all my business online courses on my website, and I can make as many as I want. And so that's what made me start to do the machine knitting one, is I started it for me. I started it so that I could gather all the best resources that I found that was suitable for a beginner and put it on a course in a very logical way, because I kind of went in a whirlwind in learning machine knitting, and I wasted lots and lots of hours on YouTube. And so I've kind of hand plucked, and that's still in process, but that's something for me to reference to, because of course, like anything, if you don't do it for a while, you can even forget the basics or the foundation techniques. So that is that. Okay, so this is just a bit about me. So this is me when I was at my parents' house. I tend to travel to my parents probably about twice a year because they're in their late 80s. This was my crochet phase. I did that for about 6 months and made a couple sweaters, a hat, mosaic. I started with mosaic crocheting, a little bag, so I really thought I was cute there. And then after about 6 months, I'm thinking I want to do more projects, but I didn't have enough time to do everything I wanted to crochet. So then I saw on Facebook Marketplace this thing. And I thought, ooh, it was really cheap. And my granddaughter was coming that morning. I was watching it. So I thought, let's go pick it up and have a play. And I made her a beanie in like 20 minutes. And I'm like, whoa, this is a game changer. So I did that for about 6 months and made sweaters. That's a sweater, the red one. Actually, I actually sewed that up and finished that up when I was in the hospital waiting for my husband. He was having an angiogram and found out the results after he had to have a triple bypass. So that's my Angie sweater, because one, it was red and it has to do with the heart. And I tend to name sweaters depending on what I'm going through at the time or if someone inspired me to make it. So who knows, you may have, I may write a pattern that's something you inspired me to do. I love to teach. Now, let me just make sure. Okay, you can see the participants too. Okay, let me wonder how I can do that so that you don't. I'll just move it over. Thank you, Teresa. Oh, go to presenters view. Okay, you can. Okay, let me try that. Thank you.
If you go up to the top and you see where see where all the little boxes are in your top right-hand corner of your screen.
Yeah.
If you touch that, it changes it from gallery to
Yes.
your view. And we
Oh,
want
that's on
your
the actual
view.
Zoom one. Yes.
Yeah. And that way then we don't get the participants on the
We
side.
just get me. Is that
We
right?
just get you. Yes.
Um,
But you'll have a drop down on that. Where it says we want speaker view is what it is, not gallery view.
right.
Okay.
I'm just trying to see how that. I know I've seen that. Oh, view. Okay, speaker view. Well, I do have it on speaker view. So if everyone can just mute themselves right now so that if anyone speaks, it doesn't, or any noise in the background. And I'm going to go presenter view and see if that works. No, okay, that's going to confuse me. So I'm just going to go back to okay. Are you seeing okay, are you seeing me and my grandchildren?
Yes, but what I was saying is they're on gallery view. That's why they're seeing it. If they use speaker view, they won't see anything but
Oh,
you.
I see. So that's the participants who say speaker
It's the
view.
participants that are
Okay.
in the wrong spot.
Okay, excellent.
Not you. You're golden.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for that, Janet.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, when I was doing circular knitting, I love to teach. I'm a teacher I wanted to be a teacher when I was a kid. But then I grew up and then I got married and then we had 5 kids and that never came to fruition. But I've always, my personality is I learn something, I get so passionate about it, I want to teach it to others. And so, of course, when I met first started machine knitting and was given a machine, I came home and I, immediately started teaching my grandkids. This is me teaching them circular knitting. My granddaughter's 3. I found those old vintage ones. They're about 50 years old. Great. And they would make socks and beanies and everything. My granddaughter's in the center. Those were made all on Elk 150 or my brother 230 bulky. This is something I made on my circular. So this was my circular area. I actually wore it last night because it doesn't get too cold here in Brisbane, but last night was cold and I had to go out and it was beautiful to wear that. They're just panels. tubes, and then I braided them together with the crochet braid and the thing. Then this is when my life changed in regards to my yarn story. I went to the States to see my parents. I ended up going down to San Diego for 5 days because my parents live in Utah, up in the mountains. I grew up in San Diego, was born in Las Vegas. I was my parents' jackpot, which I remind them I keep giving them grief, probably more than anything. And so I went down there, I searched online. I wanted an online Zoom class, and I was struggling to find one. And then I came across Carolyn Machine Knitter's page and messaged in there, and they said, oh, well, you have to be part of the group, the class that she teaches at a college. She does it in person as well as Zoom. So you'll see behind, that's all the Zoom land people are there, and then people face to face. And that's where I met Valerie and people that are on here from the US. And so I was going down there. There was 2-day classes that I could go to, a Monday morning and a Tuesday night. I was so excited, and then all my accommodation fell through. And so I was kind of homeless in the town that I grew up in, that everyone's kind of migrated. They've all kind of left California due to all the, cost and everything. So I just put on the Facebook group, hey, can someone offer me a place to stay? Lovely Barbie offered, but she's about an hour and a half north. And Carolyn, beautiful Carolyn, volunteered to take a stranger into her home. And I met her, and anyone, all of those who know Carolyn, she just is the most beautiful, generous, lovely person, and you can make a deep connection with them quite quickly. I've only known her. I only knew her like 18 months before she sadly passed. But I feel like I've known her for years, and she's made a huge impact. When I went to the first class, there was this machine at the TAFE, like a TAFE college, and it had a note on to Carolyn. She didn't know who it was, but it just said, here's a machine, do what you want with it. And she started to cry. She says, Sherry, you have a machine, because the machine I had at that point was a Bond Ultimate Sweater machine, which anyone who knows that, it's a piece of junk. Don't waste your money on it. And so I brought this home to Australia. So there she is. She's teaching on Zoom, kind of like what I'm doing today, but then she also had people. There's Valerie, I see, helping people. And so that was a blessing. So then I started to knit. That's a skirt I made on my standard. And then I love cable. So that was a sweater with the cable. You can't really see it. These are, and I'll show, these are some of the things that we'll be learning. So a simple cable we'll be learning possibly next week. I love knitwear to wear. I love loungewear. I'm home a lot. I get very cold. In Australia, we don't really have central heating, even though I turned it on a little bit this morning. It's about 3 times the price to heat our homes here than it is in the US. So we just rug up, as they say, or dress warmly. So this was an outfit that I made, my first V-neck sweater and some pants. I love wearing knit pants. They were kind of my first fun pair. That was a next one that I made, and I actually finished it when I was at Carolyn's home in January, the last time. So when that pattern will be, I'm going to be finalizing that pattern. That's my Carolyn pants, because to me, as I was at her home and she got some really, sad news that her cancer had returned. I'm sitting there finishing this. She's giving me some tips just for the last bit. And to me, purple is my favorite color, but it's also the color of royalty. And to me, Carolyn is a knitting queen. So now she's my angel knitting queen. This is the sweater I have on now. It's bamboo cotton. I don't use wool. I bought some wool once from a woolen factory. I still haven't used it because it's warm here. So that's bamboo cotton I love to use. And then I also just got back from the States, and in Walmart they had cotton at Walmart because I didn't get out too often because I strained my ankle a day after I got there. And then my mom broke her nose and just lots of things with elderly people. This is another dress that I made for my daughter who got married. So this was just made out of a cotton and a thin acrylic, which gave it, so I had two strands going in my, can't remember what machine that was in. That might have been my LK150. So it gave some quite cute designs. She didn't take a photo of the light blue one I made, which was like that, because that has a low back too. And that was made out of bamboo cotton. And that's my posy dress. So that's one that will be taught. It's very simple. But I don't have one because I don't have my daughter's figure. But if you do have someone who has a cute little figure, it's a great easy dress to make. This is the famous raglan top down sweater that Carolyn taught me day one. I made a sweater. I made this sweater for a little 3-year-old. So I made one for my son just a couple months ago. And then I made one for me with a little bit, or this was just a boat neck. And it didn't fit me that well. And so my new future daughter-in-law came over and I said, hey, matching pair. So that's one that we'll be doing as well. Again, all the sweaters that we will be doing initially are very simple block sweaters. This is designed for beginners. I mean, I'm so grateful that I learned the raglan sweater day one when I knew nothing. And she just sat there, Carolyn, and just told me what to do. And she was showing me this schematic pattern that to me was Chinese. But it's made since I knew that she wasn't going to be here for long. I made it my goal to really master that and learn how to read that pattern. And so I love that. This is something else that I've just made and just gifted to my granddaughter on the weekend. She said, oh, who's that? And I said, that's Snoopy. She didn't know who Snoopy is. And so those are kind of fun lounge outfits that I'm looking to, and these again are very simple and very beginner friendly. And just to have some fun with lounge wear, I mean, I may wear that out to the shop, but may not either. This was just recently, 4th of July, when I was in the States for a family reunion and I didn't have anything to wear. Thank goodness it's dry heat in Utah, so I could actually wear a sweater. So that was just a sweater I designed using my electronic 940 that did the pattern, and then I just did the stripes. So that was really fun to wear. These are a couple of the things that we'll be doing. And these are things that Carolyn taught me. Just some basic sew-as-you-go socks for children or adults. They only take like 10 minutes each, really quick. A hat, it takes like 7 minutes or maybe 10 at first. And then a dishcloth. And these were all things that she just taught me. And she had encouraged me to keep the knitting alive. She could feel my passion. She said, yes, please go and teach and share things with others. And then blankets. That's one of my grandsons, my last grandson. That's him in my arms. And so blankets are another thing. And those are the 2 raglan sweaters I made for my grandsons. So why do I knit? Because it's great for me to escape whatever's happening in life. But also so that I can make things for my grandchildren and my family that they appreciate. I have a rule with my family or anyone I give something to that I knit. I tell them I really loved making it, and I hope you love it too. But if at any point you don't love it anymore, or you decide, oh, I really don't like this, then no feelings hurt. Just give it back to me, and I'll regift it to someone else. And so my little 4-year-old granddaughter, I made her a blanket because she had this ragged old thing. And A week later, I took her blanket and she took the new one, and she came back a week later saying, Grandma, I'm sorry. This is a beautiful blanket, but I really want my old blanket back. And can we maybe give that to my cousin? So when you put a lot of effort, even though machine knitting is so much faster, it becomes a part of you and you want it to be appreciated and used. Okay, now on to the normal part of the thing, announcement. So next week at this point, it will be the day and night. My son is coming down again for the weekend that week, but I think we're going to be able to arrange it so that I can have the night class again. The following week, the 27th, will only be the evening because my husband and I are going on a road trip down near New South Wales. He's really into family history and family research. And so we're meeting up with one of his belated mother's correspondence. And so that will just be the evening class. And then we'll go back to day and night on the 3rd. Something I just found out for those Queenslanders or Brisbane people, there's the first annual Queensland Yarn Fest, not this weekend, but next weekend at the Redcliffe Showgrounds. Let me know if you're planning on going, because we may meet up because I want to go there and check it out. I'm actually thinking of maybe even doing a display and doing some demonstrating because I don't think they have any machine knitters. And then also coming up, I want, and Barbie, who's in the class, she's been an inspiration to me, to knit for charity. And so I have an opportunity in October to do some donations. And so I'm looking at maybe doing an in-person for those who are in Brisbane area all day, and to come and knit. And one of the things where you can knit is what we learned today, but there will be some things that we'll learn before then so that you can come and spend the day. We'll have a big haul and we'll be able to just knit and donate. Also, some other announcements. And what I want my group and workshop is to promote other people. I'm a beginner. I've been knitting for 20 months, but because of that, I still have a beginner mind, and I tend to learn very simply, so I teach very simply. But there are so many resources out there. And so one, which is, I just realized is currently running and halfway done, is Diana Sullivan. So anyone who's done machine knitting and searched YouTube, you'd probably see her videos. She's doing some now, but I'm going to have a goal next year to attend. There's I don't know, 4 or 5 of them that for a very good fee. She's based in the US. This is another one that I joined just while I was in the States with Barbie, because we were looking for another way to connect with other machine knitters. This one's in back east, and they have theirs every month. They have demonstrations, and so that's the next one for that. And then San Diego Guild, whoops, which I just joined last month and went to my first workshop, and that was brilliant, really good, very well. It's $35 US, but really good people they get on there, because that's been running, and that would actually kind of was started by Carolyn. So unfortunately, Carolyn passed away May 9th or 10th, depending on what country you live in. And I was luckily able to see her at the end of my trip. I spent about 5 days with her in January, and then I went to visit her when she was doing some treatment in Phoenix, and was able to see her again there. But she quickly, thank goodness, passed away. And she's left a big hole in a lot of our machine knitting lives. And so we're just trying to keep that. And so a lot of the American ones are from her group that we're just trying to stay connected. So those are some other ones. I'll be putting links in the group, in the chat at the end, so that you can And I'll remind you to copy the chat so that you can have those to look at later. Okay, so the Facebook group, feel free, it's visible. It's private, but it's visible. So please feel free just to invite people to search the name. I came up with this idea because my name is Dumbrell, and so I wanted to play on that. And two, because I feel dumb when I'm learning anything new. So and it's designed for beginners, even though all levels hopefully can benefit and participate. So on here, it's just going to be announcements, sharing. Any sharing that I have today that has been sent in, those will be put on a post and then in comments so that you can see those, and any queries. My motto in life is keep it simple, Sherry, KISS, but it works well with keep it simple students. So this is a beginner group, so we want to keep things simple so that we can master those. So make sure you visit that regularly so you know what's happening. Then these workshops, I've kind of talked through how these workshops will run. The workshops are free. And so please invite people. I've been getting people from a Queensland group that I've taken over Machine Knitters adminning this last week, and plus just other avenues people have come in. So there's a great need for an online group because especially in Australia, where there's a lot of people remote and don't have a club to visit. Mine's an hour away, which is an hour away. And so, yeah, so feel free to do that. Okay, so guidelines of the workshop. Be friendly. I want this to be a safe place. None of us want to feel threatened or be spoken unkindly to. And so I want this to be a friendly place. Speak to uplift. We're here to uplift each other. When someone shares, to show our gratitude and encouragement. I never want anyone to leave feeling discouraged or not heard. Stay on topic. So when I'm talking about something, always have a piece of paper and pen available to write down any thoughts or ideas or questions that come while I'm maybe presenting something, so that at the end of it, then we'll open that up for instructions so that we can get as much done in the workshop as we can. Of course, today's taken a lot more time in the introductions, but I think that's really important. That's why we're here, is to make connections. Okay, another one is when the demonstrator, and I'll be having guest demonstrators, there will be people here that will hopefully be a demonstrator, because again, I'm a beginner, and I think it's good to hear other people's ways. But if a demonstrator is demonstrating, I just asked to refrain from saying, oh, there's a better way or there's another way, because with some knitting techniques, there's multiple ways to do it. But when you're a beginner, you only need to hear one way. Otherwise, you get so confused. And now I got so confused because I was looking at too many YouTube videos of all the 10 different ways to cast on, when really the way that Carolyn taught me, the E-wrap, was the one that I go to all the time. When we have sharing time, depending on how many are sharing, we just keep that brief. Use your chat box. If you do have a variation or a link or questions or want to share gratitude, please do that in the chat box. I can't kind of keep an eye of the chat box at the moment. But yeah, hopefully once I get a co-host. And then at the end, I'll remind you to copy the chat box so that it will have everything, so you don't have to do that. So please assist me in making this a safe place to learn. We are all beginners. We all are a beginner when we're learning any new technique, and there are so many in machine knitting, but this workshops are focused on beginner techniques, the foundations, and then after that, you can really do whatever you want. Everything will kind of make the terminology will make sense. Okay, in regards to the online course, so I have an online course. It has, I think at the moment, about 33 modules. And but it basically takes you from very basic history of knitting and really through a very chronological way of learning, which is how I like to learn. So on there is going to be all the information for the workshops and resources. That's where you'll get the patterns. Some of them you'll get via email. But the thing is, in regards to recordings like this recording, if you want to have a copy of the recording or you can't go to one, then that will be on the online course. The reason I'm not putting things on Facebook is I do not trust them. They've really changed. And in fact, there's a few of Carolyn's videos on her group that she had that have disappeared because of Facebook's new rules. And so I really don't want to put patterns or things on Facebook because I don't have control over that. This is my website. I have full control over it. I created it. So that's it. And so basically the workshops are free, but if you want access to the online course and there's no contract, if you just want it for a month or whatever, then it will be $20 Australian a month or 15 US. I do have a US bank account, so you can just make a thing into there. I will be drip feeding patterns into the course, so they won't be available in the module, won't be available until a few days before we teach that. So that's just something to consider. It's optional. And, you know, I want these to be free, but because it does take many, many hours, which I've already spent creating this and gathering. And basically, I'm gathering resources off the internet that I found were the most beneficial to help me as a beginner. So, as well as YouTube videos and certain ones that I found were really good. They, again, were very basic. So their links are in the course. And so, of course, all credit and everything goes to the people who did it, not me. I'm just kind of making a one-stop shop for beginners of where they can go rather than going 10 different directions. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do meet and greet. So I want you, as we go around, I have some people's things already, so we'll start with them, is just say where you're from, a brief of why you started, of course, not as long as mine, but you know, it's my show, so. But we'll always have a lot more time to share in the future workshops. What machines you have and what's your favorite? What's the one you like? Mine is the 230. I love my 230. I just got a ribber for it, so that's even more exciting. And what you like to knit, and then what you would like to learn to knit. So let's go into show and tell. And I'm going to, when we get to the point where those who didn't send in photos, and if you do have something to show, I'll just take a screenshot unless you tell me not to. And I'll use that and put that in. I'll probably just have one post in the group, and in the comments will be all the different sharings that happened today. So we're here to inspire others. And so yeah, so this is mine, my first sweater, and that's my grandson wearing. And he wears it every Sunday to church. He just loves it with his little white shirt under and his little bow tie. And so that's my favorite thing to knit. Next is Barbie. So if Barbie wants to unmute herself, if she's still with us,
Here.
I from the very beginning when I met Carolyn, I started to meet up with her at her home because she's only about an hour and a half from LAX where I fly in. So now she's my local place to hang out at the beginning and sometimes the end of my trips. I'm usually there for about 4 or 5 weeks. And so this is Barbie. She's very talented and yeah, just kind of explain your pictures here.
Okay, you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Can you? Okay. My pictures. Well, I have about 6 llamas and alpacas. Um, I I use them for show. We do obstacles with them, but we also use them for the fiber here. I say we, it's me, myself, and I. There is no we, but I sometimes forget. Um, and so they get shorn once a year, and I like making clothing from them. I like to be able to finish something and then take it out to the animal and say, hey, you know what, that's where it came from. So yeah, the sweater there that's on the mannequin, so if you can see the little photobomb guy right behind him, or right behind the sweater, that's Abraham. I think that's Sherry's favorite, but
Yeah, he gave me a
he
kiss
tends to
when
be
I saw
friendly.
him. Yes, he came straight up to me and gave me a big kiss.
He's a big public relations, so he goes to school things and things like that. He is half llama, half alpaca. And so that's the sweater that was made from him. Um, I make a lot of stuff for just for competition mostly. That is hand spun and made from the animals. And then I am on the board with San Diego Knitters Guild. I'm in charge of philanthropy, and my job is to give away everything that everybody made. And so it's kind of fun. I mean, it's always tear jerking. We get into some really amazing projects that we've done, and then we give it all away. As far as the machines I have, I am racking my brain as to where my inventory list is. I can't find it anywhere, and it's important because if something happens to me, it states, you know, where it came from, what it is, and kind of a ballpark figure of what it was paid, what, you know, how much I paid for it. So I need to find that. As far as the machines I have, I have a bunch. I have about a dozen.
Have.
I don't have a mid gauge that I'm looking for, but I don't want to. Well, I do have a mid gauge, but I want a real mid gauge. So a metal bed mid gauge is what I'm looking for. I do run quite a few G carriages. They told me when I first got them that you can only run 1 G carriage at a time. I usually, if I'm working on something for philanthropy, I usually run about three G carriages at a time. I am extremely blessed. I do live here on this 2/3 of an acre of a farm by myself, but I'm extremely blessed. I have an area that is very is just for knitting and crafting. Mm-hmm. So and I try not to keep fiber in here. That's in a different area. My life seems to be very in boxes on like a spreadsheet. So everything has kind of its place. But so Gus, I think that's all, right?
Yes,
I mean,
thank you. And just to explain to beginners what a G carriage is, you'll see in this photo, there's these things that have this cord. It goes back and forth on the bed all by itself. And you just leave it, you walk out of the room and usually shut the door because it's usually loud. And you come back in maybe 8 hours and you'll have the front part of a sweater knitted.
Well, to give you an example, when I did the baby blankets last year, it took about 12 hours. But what a G carriage does is it actually does the knit and the purl. So it flips the stitch over and does the purl. So you can do a pattern, but instead of doing a fair pattern where it has 2 colors, it would be 2 textures instead of 2 colors, unless you have a 2-color G carriage. Which is kind of unicorn thing right now. You can get them. They're tricky. I have one and it's tricky and I haven't got to really use it yet.
Yes. But we have someone in the group who has one who's local. So, but right, we will be having a little spot on G carriages, because if you can get your hands on one, they're really.
I did see that. If you go on the page, on the Facebook page, I think that's video, so you can hear what they sound like. But that's running 3 at a time. You probably don't want to do that in your house.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. So, thank you so much, Barbie. I appreciate that. You're my inspiration. Catherine Stewart, she's not on this class. She'll be on the one tonight. She's from New South Wales. So she found me through the Queensland group. So she's excited because she doesn't have a club. And so that looks like that's on a standard machine. using her either it's punch cards or an electronic machine. So that's a beautiful sweater. Andrew James, he's going to be on the one tonight. He's from Brisbane, our one male at this point. He's a cashmere grower, so I've learned a lot. When I learned cashmeres they come from goats, the goat hair, and a goat is usually only brushed or shorn once a year, and it only produces 250 grams of yarn or fiber. And so you'd be looking at these. They're probably a 2 kilo. I priced, and it's probably American dollars, $61 per 100 grams. So that would not be cheap. Anyway, I'm excited to have him on the thing. And I know Barbie's excited to kind of share their love for fiber. Barbie Brunting, I met her in my local group and we went to retreat together. That's where I met her, a weekend retreat every year here in Australia. So if you ever want to come over and have a reason, we usually do it in June, which is our winter. So it's nice and cold up in our mountains, which are really molehills for the Americans. But this is a sweater she made recently, a neat sweater, and it looks really nice on her. Yvonne Weeks, she's on the call that I could see. So Yvonne, welcome. And these are from her G carriage. So she had an eye problem, double vision problem. And so she kind of couldn't use the little tools. So she was using the G carriage. So if you can say hi, Yvonne.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. I think the G carriage is great. And these are just my early experiments with the 2-color.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll just quickly move on. Leona Stevens, she'll be tonight. She's just a new one. That was a pillowcase. Lois Bade, I think she's on the call. No? Oh, maybe not. Okay, maybe that's tonight. And just some blankets that she has made, and I'm thinking maybe they were hand knit. Okay, before we let's see, how do I do that? Oh, I don't know how. Oh.
Up the top, the 9 little dots.
Yes, I'm just trying to get to not gallery, but get to okay, before I continue, Teresa, she came on, but it was 10 o'clock for her. She lives back east in Washington, D.C. So it was getting to 11 o'clock. So she had to go to bed, which I knew she was only going to be here for a short time. So she came on, and so we're excited to have her participate or watch the recordings in the future. Okay, so I'm trying to think how. The view. Okay, we'll come back to that. I was just going to take a group photo just so we can see who was all here, but we will continue that. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And there we go, gallery. Okay. So if everyone wants to turn their camera on, if you don't want to be in the photo, feel free to turn your camera off. But I will take a photo with my snippet. And so here we go.
I hate these photos.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so who has something to share that didn't send something in? If so, just raise your hand. Down below, you'll see the react button. Please put that, and in fact, I want to hear from everyone, even if you just introduce yourself. So in fact, I'll just call on you. If we can just start with Janet Hayes. Just kind of tell where you're from and your.
Okay, I'm now in Redmond, Oregon. Which is Central Oregon. I raise alpacas, and I totally agree with you. Carolyn has left. It's a big hole. But I ended up my best friend now. She moved down from Northern California, and she raises alpacas also. And she was mentioning one day, we're having all our fiber processed into yarn and stuff. And of course, you've got to store it at home. You're always trying to do something to help feed these critters, right? So she was telling me, she said, "Oh, yeah, I'm taking this machine knitting class." And she says, "Look at, you can make this beanie in minutes. My gosh, what we can do with this machine." I'm like, "What?" And from there, I signed up for Carolyn's class too, and we drove to San Diego. And you're right. From the time you meet her, she was just such a special person. Anyway, so I moved out of Southern California, and I'm in Redmond, Oregon, because I wanted to continue to raise my animals, and it was getting really tough in California. So so in the meanwhile of moving up here, I also work in a store called Alpaca by Design. And we sell nothing but beautiful garments and beanies and wrist warmers and coat, all alpaca. It's all beautiful alpaca stuff from Peru. It's very high end. Well, I'm fortunate enough that I have a standard machine set up in the store. I knit while I'm at work, and they sell my stuff.
Oh,
Now, that's pretty great, isn't it? So it's fun stuff. So I've made every wrist fingerless glove that Carolyn ever taught us. I make those regularly. I make her beanies. I've learned, all the scarves, you name it. So, and I've made the Danny sweater and all of those, but I'm at a point now where I want to progress. I want to make some really nice Fair Isle sweaters.
mhm.
So that's my goal. And I also have a garter carriage, but I still can't get my electronic to pattern.
Oh, okay. I had
You
that problem
remember
once
all
too.
that we went through, and I still can't get it there. So anyway, I'm gonna have to take it to somebody, I guess. But
Well, thank you, Janet. We're really
yeah,
pleased to have you here in the group because you have a lot of experience and we'll be able to really share that.
well,
So thank you.
appreciate you going to the effort, Sherry. It's
Oh,
wonderful. Thank you,
yeah,
thank you, thank you.
it's kind of my new life, thing.
It's wonderful. Thanks
Yes,
again.
thank you. Okay, we'll go to Valerie. So if you can unmute yourself here.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Valerie. I live over here in San Diego, California. Friends with Barbie, part of the Guild, which is a great community. Lots of very talented people have been doing it for forever and very helpful. I hope you guys can join in. We do have demos and everything once a month, meet once a month, first Saturday of the month. I've been knitting for quite a while now. I have several machines and circular machines, and I just have fun.
Excellent. Thank you, Valerie. Yeah, lots of experience there as well. Tina.
I had to unmute myself. Sorry. Yeah, I'm Tina. I live really close to Valerie, so here in San Diego, native. Um, I have a couple of machines. Pretty much the 260 is the only thing I'm using right now. Um, and it's set up. I just got a motor recently, so pretty excited about that. Still playing with that and learning lots of new things. My 230 is set up, but I think I want to break it down and put a standard up so I can learn how to use the G carriage that's sitting here on the floor. Um, yeah, I have an extra 260 and ribber if anybody's interested. Let me know. I want to sell the third that I have. And then I have some standards in the closet that I've never broke open. So I'd like to eventually take those out. I don't even know what they are. Can't tell you, I don't use them often enough to know what they are. But anyway, I do the basic stuff. I started knitting back in the 80s. My mom and I attended classes back when Carolyn was also just a pup. And we were like, in our 20s and taking classes from Dorothy Huckle and the other girl, can't remember her name right now. Anyway, and then, kind of life got in the way and I got away from it. So got back into it with my daughter probably about 8 years ago and was attending Carolyn's classes at Foothills. So very sad and everything's just kind of disconnected right now as we regroup and figure out, get our bearings again. But anyway, Valerie's helping me a lot to stay motivated. I have an Addy circular that my husband uses quite a bit. Actually, I have a couple of them, a 22 pin and a 46 pin. So my husband is always making beanies and scrubbies. So we keep him busy. Those are set up in the living room all the time. So anyway, yeah, that's about it. That's all I have.
Oh, thank you, Tina. And it was lovely. Just in end of June, I was able to meet with Valerie and Tina to meet up at a place that we could just kind of talk about and, memories of Carolyn and things like that. So it was lovely to see them. Okay, thank you. And if we can go to let's see, is it Lois Wilton? Okay, Lois, if you want to go. Thank you.
Hello. I live at Caloundra on the Sunshine Coast, so not too far away. But I have not got a machine with me. My mother passed away last year, leaving lots of craft stuff. And also, still out on the farm that they'd left probably 10 years ago was two sewing knitting machines in the shed there that my brothers, like we're just going to get rid of them. And I'm not kind of one to just throw everything out. So I dug a little deep and just jumped on Facebook, found the group here in Queensland 12 months ago and just joined that with the intention of trying to connect and see if anyone probably wants these machines. And then just jumped on again last week or something and found Sherry had sort of created this little group for these workshops. So I'm in a space at the moment where I don't know what I'm doing with a lot of this stuff that I have of my mum's. I do remember her having jumpers made from these machines. I have no idea what they are. I don't really recall even seeing them being used, and whether they are any good, I do not know. And I can't actually get them because they're 9 hours away from me right at the moment. But so I guess part of me wants to have a play and have a look and see whether I actually do want to have a play with these or pass them on to someone else that will. But I'm happy to be here, and I think it's beautiful, Sherry, just what you've all talked about, Caroline, and her memories. And I guess that's part of me too, of things that my mother has done. She did lots of handwork embroidery, and I want to do a lot of it just because I don't want to get rid of it and for memory's sake. But anyway, I'm not sure how long I'll jump on. I probably will join the Jimba, and I probably would have jumped up this week, Monday, but I've got a cold, so I wasn't going anywhere. So maybe next week I am an in-person, like to
Yeah.
see what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is interesting. I was cleaning probably for elderly people about 5 years ago and I went to one particular lady's house and she had this knitting machine and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I'd love to really see what you do and what you can make and all that. But of course I couldn't do that then. And yeah, I was like, well, there obviously is still people that use these machines. But yeah, because I just thought they were a dying thing. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
People are dying. The users are tending to die, but the machines keep going. If they're the metal machines, if you keep them serviced and maintained and cleaned, they keep
Yeah.
going, which is amazing.
Yeah, but it's whether people want to use it. And also
Yes.
living here, I do not wear, you're talking about beanies, gloves, scarves. I just can't do any of that. I do have a cotton knit jumper on, which you can hardly buy. I am actually blown away already by seeing what you can do, Sherry, because I kind of just remember itchy jumpers that Mum
Yes.
made us
Uh-uh.
before the knit fabric came in. And yeah, and so I am interested actually in seeing what can be done with them. So who knows where this will go? But thank you
Oh,
for
yes. Well,
allowing
thank
me
you.
to
And I
join.
look forward to meeting you in person, hopefully next
Yep.
week. Okay. And then I think Tina is gone, but she can just, or not Tina, Teresa. And we did Tina. So I think we've done, oh, Claire Searle. Your turn. Lucky last. Just unmute yourself. Just the bottom left. If you click on the photos of us. Oh, you don't. Did you want to share? Give me a thumbs up if you want to. So just unmute yourself. Cute dog. Okay, she's having okay, let us know when you can once you figure out how to unmute yourself, just yell in and we'll do that. So I'm just going to go on to the demo, which, yeah, it's a 20-minute demo. It's all pre-recorded. Okay, let's see. Claire, can you hear it? Can you have audio? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll come back to you, Claire, at the end.
I've got it now.
Oh, there you go. Go for it, Claire.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I had to go out and come back in again because for some reason I was muted with a warning signal or something,
Oh,
and
okay.
I had to go back out, and I've been doing Zooms for about 5 years. So yes, this is my other passion,
Oh,
which is
beautiful.
this is Morgan, and I have English Cocker Spaniels that I show and breed them. And he's got a dog show coming up next weekend. So he's getting his makeover.
And where do you live, Claire?
I live in the Clare Valley in South Australia, which is a winery district. It's full of vineyards and wineries, and it's a really pretty area. And I was in Brisbane for 32 years. My family originates from this region, and I moved back here to retire. And I am actually I call it a pet stylist by trade. I'm a dog groomer, and circumstances forced me back to work. So I'm self-employed, and I've been working. I restarted my business here in the region, and I'm actually sitting in my dog grooming trailer at the
Oh,
moment
okay.
on the street. So my knitting journey has been a lifetime one. I started knitting hand knitting at the age of 5, and I very much a hand knitter. And about 10 years ago, I thought I discovered the Addy circular knitters, and I've got the Addy, and then I've got another one that's a generic one that I got from the Lynn Craft store. And I've made hats and beanies for charity on those. And then often they end up as gifts as well for family and friends. And then I ventured into flatbed knitting. My first one was a Toyota KS 901 standard knitter, which has the ribbon, but I haven't, I hate to say it, but I haven't used it. It sat in the box for 10 years. But I'm more, because I'm a hand knitter, I tend to do more bulky knits, and I've got more stash of like 12 ply, 8 ply, 12 ply. So I then started looking for a bulky knitter, and I ended up with a Toyota KS, what is it, 650? And which it took me about 5 years to find the river. And both of those actually came from America. So they were sent over from the States. And then I've got, most recently, in the last few years, I've got the brother KH 260.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm the owner of that one too. So that's.
I heard Tina say that she's got a ribbon for the 260, and I went, oh my God, oh my God. I was just like, oh my God, I so want a ribbon. And it's just, I've been looking for a ribbon for the 260 for 3 years, and they're just not around.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes.
But,
Oh.
yeah,
I've got one.
Yeah, so it's but I've got the ribbon on the Toyota bulky, so I'm sort of going to flip between the two. So I've sort of, yeah, I said no, I really don't have the space anymore. So between that and sewing and hand knitting, and I can crochet, but it's only like if I have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mother and my grandmother were keen crafters and knitters and crocheters and all that sort of thing. So that's sort of where it all came from.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm going to have to cut short because I just want to get this little demo in. I understand if you need to leave, but the way the demo is going to go, I've pre-recorded it with no sound, and so I'm just going to kind of talk over it. And so thank you so much, everyone, for sharing, and hopefully everyone here can feel kind of this community that we're building, and that you'll get lots of support. And mine will probably be the least amount from all the ones that are here. Okay, so I'm going to go and, pardon? Did someone say something?
I was just going to mute.
Oh, okay, yes.
Because my dog is panting.
Okay, so yes, so I'm going to, what we're going to learn today, and it's just a beginner thing, is soap sacks. And if you haven't knitted for a while, it's a great one to get you back in because they only take like 10-15 minutes. If you're a beginner, they're great techniques that come from this. And so I'm going to just show you the online course quickly, and just the page. So this is my website. And so when you if you choose to get access to this, then you will sign in. You'll be given access. You can go to courses, and you will see there Um, you'll see that site, of course. And it's thinking because here we go. So here it is, machine knitting for a dummy. And so it really does, and I'll actually print out, that's what I'll do is I'll actually print out the map of it so that you can have a look at it to kind of see what things are being discussed in here, if you want to know that before you make a decision. So sorry, the pop-ups are for my business. And so I'm just going to go down to like there's terminology. So especially if you're a beginner, there's a terminology one here. That's because you would have heard words today that you probably don't even know what they mean. And yeah, terminology. But then down here is the projects that we'll be doing. And where do we go? Yeah. Okay. Soap sap. So this is kind of how each of the workshop pages in here is going to be set out. It's going to have the pattern. It will have, this pattern was taken from Knit It Now because that's a free site. It's a free account site and you can get this for free. But I always rewrite any pattern I get because I just have my way of the way I like to have patterns written and they're for a beginner in mind. So here it just shows what techniques this will show you. Okay, again, if you're a beginner, these probably won't mean much to you, but you will get to know these techniques very quickly. And then that's the link to the Knit It Now one, and then you'll have my pattern, which is more, a real beginner friendly one. And so that's kind of how that's going to work. And so I'm just going to go to the demonstration. And so I'm going to play this. And I need to turn sound on, I think. Share computer sound, stereo. Okay, I'm going to just press play and give me a thumbs up if you hear the audio. Oh, sorry, there is no audio. Sorry, there is no audio. I am the audio. Okay. So I'll just tell me if you can see the video running on your machine, on your screen. Can you see a carriage in front of you and a knitting machine?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of talk through, and I'm going to kind of fast forward a few places. But first of all, this is my bulky, and so basically this is using yarn cotton. Recommend a soft one as opposed to a stiff one because cotton can be a bit not giving, but I find this works quite well if you find a soft one. If not, practice with acrylic. That's just cheap yarn because it's more the techniques you're wanting to do. But you put soap in it, and that's why cotton is really good. So first of all, it's tension 7. This is the tension dial. This is the carriage, which you will learn more about. And so put the counter, because it counts it as you knit, to 0. And then selecting the 24 stitches. Now this is done on a bulky. There is a standard pattern, but it's always easier to demonstrate on a bulky because the needles are double the width apart. So this is called E-wrap. It's just like a cursive letter E. That's how we get the yarn on the machine. And so I'm just gonna get over till the end. And then once you get that on, generally, which I will do later, you'll clip the yarn in with like a peg, so that weights it down. You'll put the yarn into the carriage, and there's a slot there where you'll see, and in the course there's beginner videos on how to do all this basic stuff. And so then you knit across, and then what I do, it's only 4 rows, so I just push all the needles forward, that ensures that they knit. Okay, and you'll see me now putting the needles forward again. And so that and my left hand is making sure that they're not dropping off the machine. And so I'll keep doing that. And once I finish that, then I'm going to bring out every other needle, and this is called a needle pusher. And you can see my left hand is always making sure the stitches do not pop off the machine. Okay, and I will do every other needle, and then I will start to transfer, because we want a hole where at the top of the bag, you have to have these little holes where you put together, wind the cord into, that's going to tie the bag. And so we're taking a stitch from one and moving it over to the next one. So every other needle has 2 needles. And this is how you make an eyelet. So I'll just go all the way across there. Get it to the end. And at this point, this one I'll have 2 on the end, which is fine. See, I'll use my thumb to make sure it actually gets on there so I don't drop that stitch. And then at this point, I'm going to bring all those needles that are in the back. You can see the butts of the needles once I put the comb. Now, this is with knitting, tension or weight is so important. So this is a knitting comb, and these are weights that I'm putting on to pull that down, because you need kind of that tension for the machine or the carriage to knit the needles. Okay, and I'm putting on 3. You may not need 3, but anyway, because this was more thicker yarn, I wanted to make sure I had plenty of tension. Then at this point, I'm putting all the needles into work and by knitting across, it's going to leave a hole, which is where at the top is where you're going to thread in. And the first time you go across, anytime when you put the comb in, now here I was thinking, ooh, I dropped a stitch, but no, because it was only every other needle, it's going to look like that for one row, where it's going to have a stitch on one, and the other one, the yarn is just going to lay there. And so I'm going to go just giving it a tug to keep the tension until it can kind of handle it. And then you can see that hole it's created at the very bottom. That's where you're going to do your little crocheted I-cord around the top of your bag. And now I'm just going back and forth at a constant speed, not too fast, otherwise it can leave some kind of lines. That actually looks like I'm going really fast, but I'm doing that for like 26 rows. So as you can see, it's so much faster than hand knitting. So I'm up to 26 rows. And so now I'm ready to kind of make the bottom of the bag. So I thought I was recording and I wasn't. So imagine that there's all that knitting below hand, and I'm bringing out every other needle again with the needle pusher, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to transfer the needles I brought out, transfer that stitch to the left. Now I'm using a transfer tool, which you will quickly learn how to do. The important thing with this is make sure when you pull out, it's flat. That tool is flat, completely horizontal, and you can see my left hand is making sure it actually gets on that other needle before I release it so that I don't drop a stitch. Okay, and so that, let's keep going over to the end. Now at this point, I don't want to bring those needles, those butts of the needles back. Okay, I'm just going to stop it there because I want only to use every other needle. Okay. Okay, so do you see here, I knitted 4 rows, but do you see how it looks different? They're only knitting every other needle because the other needles are out of work or non-working position. And the reason we do that is that makes it a real easy way to gather. The bottom of a bag is round at the bottom and it helps gather that. And so at this point it's done. And now I'm going to cut 2 widths of the yarn tail, cut the yarn, and I will take it off the machine with a double-eyed needle. And again, that's a great tool to have. So I'll just keep going on that. And again, I thought I was recording, but that's how you take it off. You're just basically like a sewing needle. You're just going onto the needle, pushing it straight out, straight back in. It comes and transfers to that needle, and then you just pull it through. Okay. Now you'll see there, it's off the machine, that tail, it gathers it and pulls it. And so that's why that every other needle is really good. And so then at this point, you fold it in half. It's looking like a little soap sock. And what I'm going to do, see, there's the little eyelets that we made at first, the little holes, so that we can thread through the tie. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reinforce it, which really I didn't have to, but I'm going to reinforce go through all those top last stitches. So you can see I'm just going through that last stitch so that there's 2 strands of yarn holding that together. And then after that, I will start sewing up the side, which is called my favorite. I love it, mattress stitch. Some people hate it. I love it. It's something I do in front of the TV at night. So on my machines during the day, and then mattress stitch at night. And so now I'm going to start sewing up the sides, this side, and you'll see here that there's a V. So you want to make sure you're sewing 2 sides together. Both sides you want to have the stitches this way, not that way and that way. And so you'll see that that's a V and that's a V. And so that's what you're going to do. And we're going to do 2 stitches at a time. We're going to just go back and forth, kind of like make a ladder. And so we're going to go in under the stitch, and there's that crossbar of the stitch, which is at the base of the stitch. Okay, you can see it's just the little crossbar. You're going to put it up into there, and then you're going to go to the other side. And it's easy because you put your needle in where you just came out the previous time. So this is the first time I've done it. It's done, but you'll see after this how you just go back into the last place you came out and then pick up the next 2 and pull it. And so what the mattress stitch does is it combines it, so it does a half of one stitch and a half of the other stitch, what makes it look like a stitch. And you can't even really tell there's a seam. And so it's a really satisfying and looks. So here I am. I'm going into where it came out before, and I'm going into those under those horizontal bars, and then after about 6 or 7, just kind of tug it a bit, not too tight, but just tug it so it pulls it together. And then you just continue on going through. and going up until you're done. Okay, so this is something that I struggled with, and I had to do this with circular knitting. But now, yeah, I really enjoy it. Once you can kind of make sure you continue going up the same row, the same ones, and not jig-jag to the next one, it's a really beautiful finish. And so that's what I'm just doing. I'm just going from where I came out before. You can see that's where I came out. And so I'm going to go into that same stitch and then go up under the 2 bumps of the next 2 stitches. Okay, and then I will continue up until the top. Then by the time you get up there, there's the other tail end with it. I just tie a knot. So you see there, it hasn't been pulled, so you have to pull it. Just a tug to make it come together. And now you just tie that other, just tie a single knot there. And that secures it. And then after this, you take those 2 yarn ends and you hide them. Okay, and you'll see here that I'll just go on the inside. There's the seam. I'll just go back and forth, or you'll see there as well. You can just kind of go down the center of the seam under those horizontal bumps as well, just to hide it. You've tied it, not, but it's, just to give it an extra security, that thing. And then once you do a little bit, you don't have to do much, then you just cut off that end. Okay, so here I'm going down the center as another way to do it. It's a bit more tricky on certain ones, but that's enough to secure that tail end. And so now is when I would cut it close to the thing without cutting the thing. Okay, and then I would do the same thing with the other tail end. And then to have the tie, then it's crocheting. And so crocheting, all you're doing is crocheting a chain. Is there anyone, and you can unmute yourself, who does not know how to crochet a chain? Lois? I'm just mindful of time, but
Yeah, no, I have done crocheting and I've done a bit of hand knitting.
So yeah,
but yeah,
doing 15.
I don't know much, but I have done a little bit.
Yeah, that's all you need to know for this, is just to crochet a chain like I am, and you'll just see.
Yeah.
I always teach my grandkids the head of the crochet is a dinosaur, and he's eating the yarn and pulling it through, and your left 2 fingers are very important to keep moving up to hold that down, to give that tension. So tension is important for crocheting, hand knitting, machine knitting. And so I'll just fast forward there just to the very end, where I've weaved it. I start to weave it in and around. Hide the end, just like I did the other time. Once you're done. Okay, just nice little tugs, not too tight. And that's the same. Now hide that end. And then you end up with a little soap bag. And you can either put a full soap in, or it's really designed to have those little slivers of soap that you can put in there. And I love lavender, so I put lavender. In fact, my room here is smelling really nice because I have a lavender bar and a dove. I love, who needs potpourri or scentsy in a room when you just have soap in a soap sack, or put it in your underwear drawer, because soap, the really flavorsome soap, is really nice to put in there. It's great for a little gift. I'm a bath lover. I love having hot baths. And so I have one in mine. And I'm just gonna stop that. And just go back and finish up with the presentation. Okay, so you would have received in the email the recipe or the thing. Again, I usually do them bottom up, but you can do them top down. It doesn't matter which end you kind of start with. This is from top down. And so, yeah, this is my version, just to make it put in a little bit more information for the beginner. This is an overview and for those who, this is, if you just took a photo of this, people who are, have been machine knitting, this is all you would need. This is all I would need for a pattern, or to just look at this picture and I would just put numbers on it. And so that's, I like to, again, when I do a pattern, I like to see where I'm going first and read through it before I start actually getting into it. So we just did the demo. So I want you to just kind of have a think, what other variations or ideas could you knit with just those techniques that we learned? We just did a small bag. To do a wider bag or a taller bag is just starting with more needles on the machine and doing more rows, knitting more rows. There's lots of different things that you can just use with those things. The different stitches with different machines, you can do, this is stockinette stitch, which is your basic stitch, but you could do lots of different stitches so that they look different. You can do stripes, you can do, changing colors, which is really easy, which we will do that next week in how to change a color so you can have stripes on your knitting. I love this. This was given to me from a new friend in Utah. It's sugar and cream from Walmart. And yeah, it's soft and it's my favorite colors. Okay, that's just to remember if you're, consider if you're interested in having a face-to-face where we just get together and it would be an all-day thing, but even if you can just come for an hour or two, whatever, that's something that I'm wanting to do in probably September. So your challenge, ladies and knitters, is to practice making soap sacks. Again, if you don't have cotton, that's fine. It's probably even better to start with just acrylic, cheap acrylic 8-ply. If you're on a standard, though, of course, you have to have thinner things. And we will get that standard pattern to you. But change the color variation, change the stitch variation. You can put little beads. There's lots of things that you can do. And it's just a very quick, I'm talking like 10, 15 minutes from start to finish, and you have one done that you can give as a gift for charity or for yourself. It's just really a quick way to get back into knitting if you haven't knitted for a while and you're not feeling very confident in that. Okay, next week, before we go to the topics, this is what we're going to do next week, which is the first thing Carolyn taught me to do was to do a drink bottle while I was sitting there in class. Basically, it's an enlarged one of these, but it has changing colors. It has, you'll notice it's not a crochet tie. It's actually made on the machine, an I-cord. And then also on the right, which I've made, and I just couldn't find my picture, is a wine bottle cover. And so I don't even have mine here because I made it and my daughter was going to a work party and she had been given, they had just bought a house right before they got married, a couple days before they got the keys, and the real estate gave her a bottle of wine. Well, she's not a wine drinker. We're not drinkers. So she had this wine and she says, oh, maybe I can give that as the, the gift exchange for work. And I said, oh, and guess what I just made? I had made one of those. And so we put in the wine and that's what she gave as a gift at her work party. So that's going to be next week. And again, pay it forward. Hopefully you've benefited from today. think of who else you know that could benefit or be remotivated or a beginner, and invite them to the Facebook page. That's where you're wanting to invite them. It is visible, so they can just type it in. I will put, once I finish here, I'll put all those links in the chat box. But I will, in fact, what I'll do, I'll put it in the Facebook post in regards to this workshop so that you can have all those links to the guilds and the different things that I've mentioned today. But basically, if you do want to do I think it's the three dots at the bottom of the chat, right click, and you can just say copy and save it to your computer. Okay, so happy knitting. And so we will just, I know, see, okay, we're 5 minutes over. Which again, next time there will be less of me talking, and less of probably sharing and more of the demonstrations. But we're always going to have show and tell every week. So for next week, if there's something that if you make one of these, take a photo and send it to me, and I'll put it on for sharing for next week. Or I might even do a post and you can actually share it in that. So if you practice that. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and see who's still awake or who's waiting for their Nana nap. That's me.
I'm waiting for lunch.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because I have another one in 5 hours. That's the Australian evening one. And so I would just love to hear, and we'll keep it brief for time-wise, but what was your experience of coming to my first workshop? What things did you like? What things do you think I can improve? As you can see, it's very structured just because I want to make the most out of the time that we have together. I value your time, and we all have lives. And so I want it to be really productive. And so we'll just start. I'll just call your name and you just share your thoughts on today's workshop, and anything that stood out to you, thought, ooh, I'm going to try that, or that's inspired me. So we'll start with Janet.
I just think it was really great because it's good to, I like the recording and then you talk over it. I really like that. I think it's a good way to teach. And because sometimes with things that are recorded with the video audio on them aren't always wonderful, but I think this is a really good way to teach. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I got that from Trish O'Brien, who taught at the last San Diego Guild one.
Yeah, she's a great
She's
teacher also.
amazing. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to meet up with
Great
her right
knitter.
at the end of my trip, but her husband was quite ill that week. So I hopefully next time I'll meet her face to face.
Oh yeah, you'll love her. She's a sweetheart.
Yes, and I did. I made my little sample from that class using the river, and I made my little doll. So I'll just mention here, and I don't know if you've seen it, but so Trish, what she does is when she designs, and I've quickly become a designer of knitwear, is she has a doll. Now it's not this one. She has the American Welly Wisher doll, American doll, that which is more human proportionated. We don't have those here, so that's on my list when I go home. But this is more my proportion anyway. I'm a brick. I don't have a cute little waist. And so I will design and make an outfit for her. Now this, I'll introduce you as Carolyn. So I bought two dolls, a blonde and a brunette. My brunette's in the other room. She's in my designing room. That's Barbie. This is Carolyn. Now, Carolyn did not have long hair, but I'm sure she's gonna, who knows, as an angel, she could have that beautiful long hair. And so she's in my knitting room, and when I see her, I just think of Carolyn. And and the motivation. And I've really, and I know, try not to get emotional, but yeah, just as I've been organizing this group this week, I've really felt her with me. I really feel that she's over my shoulder saying, yes, Sherry, go, continue sharing machine knitting. It's blessed my life. It's blessed your life. Lois, it will bless your life. It is just such an amazing, it can be addicting, but we will try not to get you too addicted. um, but yeah, so this is my design Carolyn doll that just keeps me focused. Okay, we'll go over to let's go to Valerie. What are your thoughts?
It was perfect. Thank you for all your efforts, and can't wait to see more. It'll be great. Thanks for bringing us together. That's the goal.
Yes,
To keep us together.
Yes, definitely.
And have people learn, because we have to bring the younger generation. So and that was the whole thing when I was recruited by Nancy, who is my teacher with Carolyn. It was Carolyn's assistant. And she kind of taught the more advanced people. And she said, I just want to bring in younger people so we can keep it alive.
Yes.
Like Tina was saying, she was in the 80s. Right, Tina?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I missed out, and I am so bummed. Like, that was the best era ever for machine knitting.
Yes, and the sweaters are gorgeous. You watch those old sitcoms, and I look at those sweaters, and it's like,
Yeah. But that's when you really had a lot of teachers, a lot of learning, magazines galore, which we don't
Yes.
have that anymore.
Yeah, we had a lot of printed opportunities. Yeah.
That's
And I
amazing.
still have a lot of the 80s yarn.
Oh, good. Keep it. Keep it.
Yes.
We have yarn from mums as well, which would be 70s or 80s. And I've got books, I think, as well. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So,
No, it's yeah, you become a collector when you start machine knitting. I mean, I have
well, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get rid of them. So,
yeah, you kind of
Don't.
like, I just can't dump them. And
So-
it is
Don't.
awesome to see. And I don't know whether I will be one that will continue, but I definitely am big on passing it on to people that will appreciate it and use it. So
yes.
I've got to drive 9 hours to pick it up to have it.
Well, I might be able to help you. I'm going down there at the end of the month.
Well, I've got quite a bit more stuff to bring as well.
Oh, right. Okay. No, my husband wouldn't appreciate
Yeah,
it. Well, Claire needed to go. Claire, is there any comments that you wanted to say before you leave?
Really good, Sherry. Really appreciate your time. I wanted to add too, actually, I was a teacher. So what you're doing, I can kind of relate to. I was actually a dog grooming teacher in Brisbane. So I used to work in that field as well. And yeah, so what you're doing is really great. And keep it up. I'm probably a little bit more advanced, but we'll get there.
Yeah,
In machine knitting. So yeah, but I have an appointment and I'm 20 minutes from town. So I've got my local town because
yes.
I'm in a little town off from our main shopping town. So I've got an appointment and I've got to get going. So,
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming, and we may call on you to maybe do a demonstration one time. And anybody who I ask to do a demonstration, will have you do it the same way, and I'll give you kind of the structure of how to do it and how to record. That was my first time recording with the camera and all this stuff, and I have to say I was impressed with myself that it actually worked.
I don't know if, hang on, I'll just mute that part.
Okay.
Anyone can see this?
Yes.
That I've hand knitted that in 2 weeks.
Oh, what, hand knitted? Wow, you're fast.
Wow.
You're fast.
Completely, the whole lot. It's a polo sweater. It's 3 yarns. It's mohair. It's what we call a 5-ply here, which would be like a sport weight yarn. And a sock yarn, all together, a variegated soft yarn, and a 5-ply and a mohair all together. It's very thick. Where I am, it gets extremely cold. So since I've been here, I've been very busy. Because after 32 years in Brisbane, I really didn't have a lot of thick woolly things. And I've been very busy adding to my wardrobe since I've been here in the last 3 years. So that's one of the things that I just finished a couple of weeks ago, and I absolutely love it. And the best part is the 5-ply yarn and the green mohair was actually about 30 years old out of my stash.
Well
So,
done. Well done. Well,
so it's good.
Claire,
It's good. And
send me a photo. That's what I'd love to see it, so that we can post it up on Facebook.
sure.
I'd love to see it.
No worries.
A bit
Okay, I
closer
better
up.
go because I've got a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well, thank you, Claire. I appreciate your attendance.
no worries. We'll see you again soon.
Okay. Yes.
Right. And also, could I also add, could I add you to, there is a machine knitting group here in South Australia. They're based in
Yes.
Adelaide.
Yes.
I'm actually an hour and a half away, so I don't get down there for their group days. Like I used to go to the group day in Brisbane, and it was held around Mount Gravatt area originally.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
Well, Claire, if you just get permission, I mean, I want to make sure that I don't step on any toes. If you can get, feel free for you to personally invite anyone, but if you think that they may be willing for me to advertise the group for those who can't get
I'm in that group, and I'll message them and ask and ask them if they're interested in being involved.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Claire. And that's for all the San Diego people. Your people who were kind of reached out from Barbie. I'm a little bit hesitant, and people would know why, of reaching out to other people in the guild. And that's not my place to do that. So, yeah, feel free to say, hey, that was really good. Come and join that. So we'll go with Tina. Tina, was there anything before? It looks like you're going to go to bed.
No, I'm moving from room to room. I'm trying to pack for a trip, and so I'm moving from room to room, and the lights are on and off,
good.
and whatever. So anyway, no, I don't have anything else to add. Looking forward to hopefully joining you next week. We come home from our trip on Monday, so hopefully I'll have my act together by Tuesday. Don't know if I'll be able to work on the project, but I am looking forward to, doing a couple more soap sacks. I've done some in the past. I'd like to do a couple more, and I'm really appreciative of you encouraging us and kind of challenging us even to go back and do the beginning stuff. So looking forward to that.
Thank you, Tina.
Mhm.
And we have Teresa. I don't think she's still here. I think she went to bed a few hours ago. Yvonne,
Yes, that was really good.
did you enjoy that?
Yes, keep it up. It's very good.
Good. I
It's
will. And
somebody feeling confident about getting back into knitting, because I know how you feel.
Yeah.
And Lois, please come up to Majimba on Monday, 9:30.
Oh.
You'll be made very welcome.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Yvonne.
Yep.
And last but not least, who is Barbie? Are you still with us, Barbie? Barbie, is Barbie here?
I don't see her.
Oh, let me just check. No, she must have had to go. And so thank you so much. This has been a real uplift to me, and I think that we can hopefully that you'll return and we can create some beautiful stuff. And if nothing else, just to have that community and that connection that this brings. And Lois, I have probably the machines you're bringing up. I probably have them in this room. So I'm only 40 minutes down the road from you. So feel free when you get them, just come here and I'll spend some time with you face to face. because we don't have a lot of time at club, but here I can spend some time or even
Yeah, look,
evening.
I do need to go down to New South Wales. So, and whether the machines are any good, I don't know, but I will definitely bring them back up when
Yeah.
I go down. I just, after talking and then you're saying about hand knitting, do any of you ladies remember these? This is Knitting
Yes.
Nancy. So I'm actually pulled this out in my collection just recently. And I'm like, well, hang on, I've been doing this and I'm making little daisies to then put on a mobile for my little granddaughter. So I was just like, well, that's hand knitting, but it's
It
using one of
is.
these old things.
Very good.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just
That's
a
called
couple of weeks
I-cord.
ago.
Yeah.
Sorry,
And
what was that, Valerie?
in the course in the knitting history, that's the first thing that's mentioned is one of those. Or
Oh,
actually,
really?
my husband remembers just the sewing, the wooden sewing
Yeah.
spools with nails
Yeah.
in it that he would do
Yes.
in school. And so I
Yeah.
kind of walk you through. It started with that, and then it went to kind of looms, then went the knitting
Oh,
needle,
wow.
circular, and now flatbed. So that it kind of shows people the history
Yes.
of knitting because,
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
start
that's
on a
true.
flatbed.
Yeah, well, and you know, I have seen the circular ones that you ladies are talking about, and
Yeah.
I just thought, oh, it's another plastic thing that you buy at Spotlight or whatever, and I'm not collecting anything. And then now you're talking about circular, I'm like, oh, okay, then you can actually do something useful on those things.
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's how I
yeah,
started. And I actually got Carolyn and some of these ladies, they all bought them when they saw the nice big sweaters that I made when I made them
yeah,
18.
I'm blown away.
And I just
So,
picked one up free on Marketplace that had this
yeah,
yarn and it had pom-poms for the beanies. It has all the things for
ah,
free. So even though I
yeah.
have 10 of them already, I have some Addies and some Centros. I had
Where
to
did you
take it.
buy
I
your?
had to take it.
Yeah, yeah.
We're addicted.
Okay. Oh well, hopefully I might be able to join you on Monday.
Yeah, that
Um,
would be lovely. Well,
yeah,
thank you so much for coming.
and
And
thank you for
anything else
inviting me.
that anyone wanted to say or share?
She's doing I-cord, and that's what we can do on the machines, and it's super easy.
Yes,
What's
exactly.
that?
I-cord. What you're making with that knitting, Nancy, is it makes an I-cord like a
Ah,
uh
yes. Well, yes, I did notice
yeah,
that on your
here,
wine
have it.
bottle that you're talking about. Is that it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a 3 or 4
Yeah.
sided.
Well, to be honest, I'm like, what do you use it for? Like, seriously, I had this for my birthday and like in my 70s, and I've got it still here, never made anything out of it, you know?
It's
But
great for
I
little
saw,
kids. It's great for them just to kind of
yes,
get their head off of
but
the screen
but
and
Pinterest is full of them. Like, Pinterest is where I found this idea.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, okay, I will pull mine out and have a play. Yeah,
yes. Oh,
yeah.
excellent. Oh, that's
Anyway, we'll see
I
what
can give you a
happens.
lesson if you pick up a cheap because there's quite a few on there. I can give you a circular knitting lesson because I made sweaters and everything just on those. So they're quite
Yeah.
fun to
But the
and very
wool and the
cheap.
yarn, where do you get all that from?
Well, for the circulars, it's just your 8 ply. You just go to I
Yeah,
just get mine from a secondhand shop, just your normal, yarn. For the knitting machines, depending on if they're big like mine, that's just the same yarn. If they're
yeah,
standard where the needles are smaller, then it's thinner yarn. But we can
yeah,
talk about that and we'll decide, see
yeah,
what your machines are, which
yeah,
mine
yeah, yeah,
are going to
that's right.
be standard.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you, ladies. Have a good
Thank you.
evening. Our US ones, have a good afternoon, evening. And again, anytime, especially for the ones in Australia that come to the day one, if you want to join in on the evening one, of course, you'll have to hear my big introduction again. But anytime that you can't make one, you can make the other, or you can just pop in or out at any time during the workshop. Okay, thank you so much. And
Thank
Bye,
you.
ladies. Thank you.
okay,
Thanks.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.